Emperor has been expecting you.
Hi everyone and welcome to One Six Figure Focus, and you're very welcome to episode number 51 of the Visions live stream. A series of live streams where every single episode I sit down with a different member of the 1/6 scale collecting community and discuss the past, the present and the future of their collecting journey. This next guy is a regular over there in Collector Joey. Shout out to Collector Joey, massive fan, always will be. 7k, hit his birthday, congratulations. Doesn't look a day over 21. And we also got this guy who might not actually be a day over 21. Only joking, Daniel. Nice to bring you in. Good old Spotchka. If Spotchka were a real drink, I would definitely have a shot or two. How are you doing?
Man, thank you so much, Shane, for not a day over 21. You know, I'm a day over 8 at least. You know, this 2000s baby. I'm not youngin' over here, man. Thank you so much.
What are you about? 24?
24 this year. So yeah,
24 this year. Going into this straight away, going into the difficult questions. I envy you. You have the gift of time. Time is the only currency that actually matters. I will start off the show straight away. I'm going to put this man under pressure. Not really pressure. I'm just really curious. You mentioned 1989 Batman on your stream that you did on your channel with Graham and the Ben Thomas Show. Shout out to the Ben Thomas Show and Graham, aka the Jedi Knight. Watching, may as well give a shout out to the Wolfpack Wednesday. If you haven't subscribed to them, you're doing it wrong. But you had the Ben Thomas Show and you had Graham on, and you were discussing, like, you know, the best basically Batman figures ever. And on it, you spoke quite passionately about the 1989 Batman. And now, again, at the risk of sounding ageist, a lot of people in their 20s, especially their early 20s, are like, I watched it, it's a bit corny, it's a bit before my time, or they haven't seen it. Even some people in their 30s are like, nah, it's I'm all about the Dark Knight trilogy. How did you come to have this love for 89 Batman?
Man, when I was a kid, that's what I was introduced to. You know, of course, I grew up, I guess, with my generation is the more Christian Bale era, right? But you know, those movies I still loved and appreciated. But when I was a kid, I've always been a big fan of Halloween. I like the aesthetic of gothic, kind of glow in the dark kind of aesthetic, right? So when I was a child, young Spotchka, if you will, was shown 89 Batman, all these bright colors and Jack Nicholson's performance. And that was my introduction to the character. And then, you know, it kind of grew on me as it stuck with me as time went on, because I could appreciate as an artist, like, the craftsmanship and the practicality to it. There's no CGI in that movie, right? So there's something to be appreciated about not only the costume design, the overall just look. Yeah, it's a stiff neck. You can't really look and turn his head that much, but it's so classic and so iconic that it stuck with me into adulthood. And yeah, man, that 89 2.0 is definitely my most anticipated this year.
Man, yeah, 100%. If there was one thing I could have right now for my pre-order list, it'd be that. I'd probably choose that over the 4-pack Joker, the Jazz Inc. 89. I just want that Keaton right here, right now. But yeah, it's a kind of a lost art, isn't it? Like the practical effects. I think during the 90s and 90s when CGI was like huge, like if you look at the prequels, there was this massive over-reliance on it, to the point where they went from like, okay, practical effects solely. There's some really good things about that, using models. Like if you look back at Stan Winston and stuff like that, like there's some fantastic, really high quality kind of movies who relied on practical effects, and then they kind of nearly overcompensated when CGI came out, whereas like, okay, the midpoint, the kind of a balance of the both, using practical effects and then CGI for what the practical effects can't achieve, is probably that sweet spot. Also why I'm one of the reasons I'm such a big Nolan fan, because he kind of has this rule: if they can shoot it in real life, they do it. They flipped that truck in the Dark Knight trilogy. They flipped it in Chicago.
But even more impressive, that scene where he's going through, like, what is it, the Gotham tunnels and like highways and whatnot. That was at the middle, like 1/12 scale tumbler that they filmed, just going through like their own little, like, it was like, so like little practical effects like that. And in a sense, that's like a little collectible tumbler that they use to film The Dark Knight. So practical effects, it, you know, form over function, right? It seems to be what studios like, right? They're like, the CGI helps and enhances, and let's drop $300 million on this movie. Nah, man, take it back to a day where you were having to build your props and build all these giant sets, and it just looked and like you could breathe into the movie that you were watching. So, no.
100%, man, 100%. And man, I've watched the Dark Knight trilogy more times than I care to admit. Actually, no, it's awesome. I've watched it loads of times. I watch it again, but usually I try to like sit down once a year. Like, let's say if the missus has gone away for the weekend, it's just like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I watch one each. I don't tend to watch them all in the one day. I'd rather just 2 hours, put the phone in another room, do the next 2 hours. I've never noticed that was a model though. Like, I've never. I know that they made the life-size ones for it, but I've never actually picked up on that. Like, you know,
I've rewatched it after knowing that information. I still can't notice it. I'm like, that looks like the regular tumbler. So,
because they're like, we're so used to we see a bad special effect and it just stands out like a sore thumb. Like, I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. It's a Harrison Ford movie called Air Force One.
Oh yeah,
you've seen it, yeah?
Oh, yeah. That's been.
Do you know when that plane crashes? It's one of the worst special effects I've ever seen in my life. It was like PlayStation 1 bad graphics. But anyway, you mentioned the tumbler. 1 second.
Oh, he's about to bring it out, isn't he? Oh my god. This thing is huge. Dude, look at this box. Isn't it huge? Bro, it's insane. Where are you going to put that?
I have a plan. So that arrived yesterday. And it has more stamps on it than I've ever seen in any box before in my life. So that's going to be placed. The plan is to get like module cases underneath. I'm going to use them for risers because when I revamped my display, I noticed that the riser I bought for it, which is actually kind of some sort of a TV stand, it worked quite well. It gave me great access to the cabling behind for wiring anything from the Luke lights to CCFLs to fusions. The access was way better than I was used to because, like, I don't want it to be a major hassle if I want to move Mando Luke from one cube to the next, you know?
Right.
But I just noticed that it was a bit flimsy because it's wooden and the leadings are kind of more metal and the bottoms one anyway. And I just thought, like, there's a lot of weight going on this wood here and it just wasn't as sturdy as I like. So I started thinking, if I can get something that acts as a riser, that's sturdier, but also give me an opportunity to display vehicles, that's a better use of space, and mine also will push the display. I'm really excited about it anyway. Look, I don't want to go on because I have a plan for it anyway. It'll be a few months in the making, but you'll be the first to know.
Did you get the Batpod with it, or?
I got the Batpod. I had the Batpod ages ago. I have it here on top of a bookshelf. It's idle at the moment because the DX19 is downstairs with the inert Joker. But yeah, like there's changes coming. Like, I mean, change. I'm nearly where I'm at with my display, but I'm really excited about it. Clearly,
I'm excited for you, dude. That tumbler is a gorgeous piece. I got to see it in person last week. I got to meet up with a collector here in my hometown, and I was like, "That's the tumbler in person. It is huge, man. Like, you guys get on your phones or wherever you're watching on the screen. In person, it is like from this little Riddler figure all the way to like around in our Joker. Like, it is." It's pretty massive, so I'm excited for you.
And that's like, I've had to like measure and remeasure and look at the specs and look at what I'm ordering, and constant communication with Module Space for like a month really, just to make sure that this is right. Like, so still a good bit of waiting to do, but I hope it'll all be worth it. Right, I'm going to address the chat and then we're going to ask you a few questions and hear your story. So shout out to the 17 people watching live, or if anyone is watching on the replay. We got Brick Artemis, he was episode number 50, and you're watching episode number 51. We got Mike L, who is a channel member, and of course a panel member on Monday nights in the Hope Show. I won't be able to watch live this morning, but excited to catch Spotch on the replay. Thanks very much, I do appreciate that. Speaking of channel members, we got good old Spotchka, who's today a panel member, and he's actually a channel member. I do appreciate that support. You don't have to do it, but massively appreciate it. We got more channel members and panel members here. We got Phil, aka The Empire Strikes. We got Low Key Collector Calvin McCalvin in London, and just an absolute legend. We got Brick Artemis, my favorite intro. Do appreciate that. Thank you. Sith Scale Collector. We got Tragedy Tales, channel member as well. Thank you very much for being here. Another channel member, Ryan Smith. Oh, look who we have. We've got a celebrity in the house, folks. We've got Ryan, aka Jedi Patrol. Jedi Patrol actually came on an episode of Visions, I think it was like last year, and he invited me on his channel to speak about the 89 jazzing. I think it might have been a day I ordered it or something like that. But Ryan, thanks very much for the support. I do appreciate that. Who else do we got? So Phil here is warming up the chat. We got Philip the Fool, channel member. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Dan the Bat fan. No talking about the bad on PS1. You know what? It was good for its time, but we've moved on. I think we've moved on. Don't think I ever owned. I played PS1, but I don't think I ever owned one.
I never got a PS1. Because I was growing up, PS2 was coming out, and I got the PS2, and that was my sweet spot, man. I miss my PS2.
I got you. They got to start somewhere. Obviously, the Spider-Man graphics we have now, or I don't know, The Last of Us or whatever, they're built on, I suppose, development of earlier. It's an evolution, I suppose. I have no plan. Still in the box. You must have got a tumbler too, and a bat pod, but I believe. Shout out to you, Trevor. We got the Movie Canon Morning Collectors. Hello, Shane, Mr. Spotchka. I just subbed to the Movie Canon today. I wasn't subbed, so I double checked, and then in his apology, I subbed and then also switched to my other account and subbed as well. So I've got 2 accounts. So who else we got? Thalia Meyer, thanks very much for being here. And Philip's giving a shout out to the SNES. That's a deep cut. All right, so bit of housekeeping. You know what? I'm going to push the housekeeping until later on, and we're going to get straight into this. We're going to talk about the past. So look, I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at you.
Let's do it.
Don't feel obligated to answer them all. They're just purely just to get you thinking. You can pick and choose how do you tell your story, whatever way you want. So what I want to know, and what a lot of people want to know, is like what was your first 1/6 scale figure? Was it a hot toy? Was it a third party? Was it a sideshow? How did you first hear about 1/6 scale collecting? Were you collecting something else at the time?
Oh yeah.
How did you react to the price? Did you think, oh no, this is a one and done, or did you realize, no, this is going to be a problem / addiction / very rewarding hobby? Who did you buy it from? Yeah, what was the first thing you got in? What was the first thing you pre-ordered?
Well, Young Spotchka was a big fan of Sean Long and Shartimus Prime and those really early day toy reviewers for YouTube, right? And I think it was like Sean Long. He had gotten an amazing Spider-Man hot toy figure in. And up until this point, I didn't know what hot toys were. I was like 10, 11 years old. I was like, oh, what is this? I'd click on the video and I watch, and I was like, Mom, look at this Spider-Man figure. Look how cool this looks. Can I please have it? Pretty please. Yeah. She saw the price and she was like, hell no, I'm not getting you this Spider-Man that's $200 back in the day, wherever it was. And like, it stuck with me at a very young age, to the point where I followed it up until on YouTube to adulthood. And my first purchase on my own was the Empire Strikes Back 40th Darth Vader. And I had gotten that at a local collectible shop here. I remember getting home and unboxing it, and I was like, I thought this would be a one and done thing, but it was like Pringles. Once you popped one, you couldn't stop.
Yep.
So I got that figure in, and I don't own it anymore just because I'm excited for that Kenobi Vader. But man, oh man, did it start a collection down the path. I thought the price was insane at the time, but I'm an artist myself, so I thought of it from the perspective of this is a limited quantity produced item. So, and this did have actual artists working on it, so respect the price for what they're asking me to pay or whatever. And it's gone up since then. I've been collecting now since 2019, so yeah, it's significantly changed in those years. And
so were you saying the first ones, early reviews from like Sean Long and Shartix Prime and stuff like that, you know, it was an amazing Spider-Man figure when you were like 11. Yeah. But your first one you actually got in hand was a Vader, was that correct?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I didn't get that Empire Strikes Back?
When I was visiting the OxCon guys and the Copper Drop crew in Texas a few months ago, I did pick up Spider-Man from Joey, Collector Joey. Shout out to Joey. Got him down here. That's the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up that original one, but I did get that Empire Vader, and I was blown away, bro. I like, because at that time I'd been collecting Marvel Legends and SH Figure Arts and some Mezco 1/12ths, and I'd been used to pretty good articulated figures, but none of them having what felt like real leather materials. Like you have a Vader figure, you know, the material of the cape.
I don't. Yeah. At the time of the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back, I got the Luke and the Lando and the Boba. I think they did a Vader as well, but I didn't pull the trigger on it, and a lot of reviews were saying Rogue One was the one to get for various different reasons, and at that stage it started climbing, and I just started, okay, play the game. it's not going to be the last time they do a 1/6 scale Vader. They'll more than likely do for Return of the Jedi, and that's exactly what happened. So that one's on order, but so is the Kenobi as well. Like, so, yeah, overcompensating there.
And you know they're gonna make one with the throne one eventually. So
They will, yeah. They'll make one back the tank, and they'll make one in the meditation room, whatever you want to call it, with the cube, and then that's not a cube, the kind of sphere. For the original trilogy, but. So, like, your first one in hand that you actually owned, that was Return of the Jedi. Is it Empire Strikes Back 40th or Empire Strikes Back? Or...
It was Empire Strikes Back 40th, yeah.
Gotcha.
Later.
And so that was the first one you ordered and first one you actually had in hand. And who did you go with?
It was a local store here in Replay, called
stuff.
Replay Toys here in Tennessee. And at the time, I'd been watching Justin's collection, Jedi Patrol, and just people in the community, and seeing like people's Star Wars collections, and I was like, man, this is
Justin's actually saved me a lot of money over the years.
You're right. He saved a lot of people money.
Yeah, and I tell you, I am. You know, I don't know Justin, but like not a lot of people you Google Hot Toys, or sorry, YouTube Hot Toys, anything. Justin's channel naturally comes up, or Jedda's channel, or some of the bigger YouTubers. And a lot of the time, like if I'm on the fence or something, I'll go and I'll watch loads of reviews. And if it turns out like well, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pull the trigger on that. And if it turns out not so well, I don't. And like, say my collection is relatively small compared to people who collect everything or have complete lines and stuff like that. But at the time, I met Justin in Star Wars Celebration really briefly, and I just kind of said, hello, how are you, nice to meet you, and just said, you've actually saved me a lot of money over the years. And he's like, that is the opposite to what I usually get told, like, so yeah, I think collectors need to, you make your own decisions and do your own research and stuff like that, and watching all the reviews, it kind of is research in a way to see if you actually want what you want. But sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. But also, you guys are, and this is including you, this is including Jeddah and Justin and Joey, everybody in the community. Some of y'all are responsible for some purchases that maybe we didn't think we were going to make, right? We watched y'all and we're like...
That is definitely not my goal. And I also wash my hands completely clean of that. I'm very much like, come on, we're all big boys and girls. Do your own research. It's your money, make your decisions. Like, I won't ever... I know there's an argument that, like, yeah, but you're on YouTube, you're an influencer. And I was like, well, maybe, but I just I take zero responsibility for it, to be honest. Like, it's like, because I don't blame Jeddah or Justin or Joey for every time I make buy a figure. You might do it, blame Jeddah in jest, but like, no, so you gotta make your own decisions. It's boys with big toys and stuff like that, like, you know what I mean, or toys for big boys, whichever way you want to look at it. But I gotta say, I'm loving the DX19, I believe, on the Catwoman stand. Yeah,
man,
I had that idea as well. I really like the look of that. It kind of elevates it a bit, especially if it's next to the inner Joker purple coat with the disc. That is, I'm just going to zoom in on that a little bit.
For Bane to come out so you can like put him right next to him too.
Oh,
like, my idea is to have it like maybe paralleled, because I'm going to add another shelf on the other side here, and then have Bane on the other side with his arms out. But yeah, man, at first I thought the cardboard on the background was going to bother me. It doesn't really have that.
Yeah, like how close are you going to get to it? Like,
yeah, but in person it doesn't look as bad. I really wish
that's a respectable shelf you have there, man. You got the inner Joker with the diorama, you got the Catwoman DX19 with the base, you got the Batman. You obviously didn't get that from Sideshow, the Batman, no?
No.
So I don't think they're shipping yet.
I think I Toys by an agent that purchased it.
TBA is legit, yeah. I gotta ask, who is the Riddler killing?
So I was trying to mimic the scene where he's killing the mayor in the opening.
It's a good job.
Thank you. And I got a Rick Grimes from what is it, 3-0? Yeah, 3-0 Rick Grimes. See if I can get him here.
Gotcha. It doesn't, just from the sculpt. What's a sculpt like? It looks okay.
It's okay. It's just like 3-0 figures are like they're missing the paint apps, I think.
Right. I can see the sculpt though there, even through
the sculpt's good. It's just they need to hire at least a few more artists.
A bit soft, is it?
Yeah.
Right. No, it's a good idea actually. Taking them out. My dog is absolutely going ballistic downstairs for some unknown reason. Can you hear him?
Yeah.
He's very excited about something. Like, I'm sure I'll be told about it within an hour. Like, but apologies
like,
for people listening.
Something going on downstairs.
Yeah. I think he's with his mom now anyway, so hopefully she has it under control. Like, but yeah, we'll chat to him later on. Yeah, so like the first one you got in hand was the Vader, and what happened after that?
So I went down a path of getting a few Star Wars figures, and I went through this phase. I feel like a lot of collectors go through where you're just watching and consuming so many that you're like, man, I want to collect so many IPs. Where I went down a Marvel path and ended up getting a bunch of Marvel figures, got my first DTOFs, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I got this set up. I did it. And then I was like, but Star Wars, you know, what's up, Bubba?
Mm-hmm.
But Star Wars, I want Star Wars figures. So I started getting Star Wars figures, and I think my first back into it was the original Mandalorian, not the updated Beskar shiny version. And it was at that time that I got that. I think it was the day that I bought that they announced the new version, and I was like, okay, so we're in this for the long run now, I guess. So yeah. And then yes, I still collect Star Wars, and then post, I guess, getting into that Star Wars again, I started collecting DC as well, as you see, and then I started collecting etc. Like I have Sideshow Michael Myers right above my head. I have Homelander and Soldier Boy from The Boys. So I try to collect a few different IPs that I guess hits home for me.
King Shark, Peacemaker, that was
The Suicide Squad, one of my favorite movies from James Gunn. So
Peacemaker had like no business being as good as it was. It was just same as the show. Like the show was like kind of going, I wonder what this is gonna be like, and then just nailed it.
It's so weird how good that show was too.
Yeah.
It's I say this all the time. It's Secret Invasion but done better.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, see, Secret Invasion is a few hours of my life I'm not getting back anytime soon. I could say that about most of the Disney Plus TV shows, to be honest.
This is true.
Well, the Disney Plus Marvel ones anyway. Right, so I'm just looking at you got the Catwoman in. That's the 2.0. What do you think?
Man, so many people have asked me in the community, like, hey, like, is it good? And I'm very like on the fence. Like, I love how it looks on the shelf, but like all the stiffness with the posing, like it's very similar to Bo-Katan in terms of like the elbows and just how the legs move and whatnot. Overall proportions look amazing, but for a 2.0, it could have been better. It could have been better. I got it, picked it up because I'm trying to build a good Dark Knight collection out, and I like how she looks with the DX19, but I wouldn't rush out to get it for anybody who's thinking about it. Like, wait for a good deal, wait to see it in BTS groups. I'm leaving her in this pose though. I'm not. I'm too worried, scared about the leather flaking off of it. So, yeah, I'm not mad at the pose I've got her in now. So. It's pretty solid.
I think it looks quite good though, and I think she works in a more simpler pose. Realistically, you're not going to have her doing backflips, like, you know what I mean. And I know she was quite nimble in the Dark Knight Rises, but I mean, I'm not going to have her, straight leg, pinning someone's.
You're not going to do a Michelle Pfeiffer kind of pose now.
No. I think it's more even just on the base, straight up and down or something like that. I've got it on order. I'm going to get it in hand, see what I think about it, and I have a buyer who saw my video on it because I was a little bit disappointed with what I was seeing from the product photos, but I said I'm going to get it in hand and see what story, and he was like saying, look Shane, I'm in Ireland, get it in, have a look at it. If you're not happy with it, I want that figure. So it's like I don't want a setup, but I'll get it in, I'll see what it's like and make my decision then. But it is nice to have that fallback. But it looks.
I think if you guys want a Catwoman, go ahead and pick it up, because I don't see Hot Toys giving us another Anne Hathaway Catwoman. So, Dan texted me and said he got his in, sent me a photo, and his looks incredible as well with his posing. So, he's enjoying it. Stuff.
And I sometimes a little bit of glasses. If like a sculpt is like not all the way there, like a 7 or something like that, little goggles or glasses or something that covers a little bit of face can actually elevate it and just trick the mind into thinking it looks a bit more like it. Like you'd seen that what I've heard is the Doc Ock, which obviously isn't a great sculpt, and I have that figure coming in, so the review on that could be interesting. But I've been told, like, it looks better with the glasses on, but even better than if you have like the upgraded suit Goblin goggles on it, like you know, which so
sun in the palm of my hand kind of look. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Although you're referencing Spider-Man 2, and yeah, I'm really not a Raimi fan at all. Well, it's funny, I should be a Tobey fan because I'm just a bit older, but I gotta say that I kind of judge the Spider-Man based on the strength of the movies, and I actually prefer Tom Holland's version. Yep. Every time I say that, I get shit from it because people are like, "No, you're wrong. Tobey's the best," and someone else goes, "No, you're wrong. It's Andrew."
I'm right there with you. I think Tom Holland's movies are better Spider-Man movies. I'm not gonna lie.
But who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
I think Andrew Garfield got the character down the best in terms of like comedic timing. Now, I think his Peter Parker is probably the worst Peter Parker, but I think
is
Tom
that
Holland,
because he's just too cool?
Is swearing allowed on this channel? I didn't know because he's just too.
You can swear a little bit, yeah.
Fuckboyish, you know, like Andrew Garfield Peter Parker is too like
he's
Peter
too handsome, like he's too cool.
Yeah. He's not.
No, I'm with you. Yeah,
skater boy, you know.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I thought that kind of obviously Tobey was just a bit naturally goofy in a way, and that kind of worked because he's supposed to be a bit of a nerd. And then even Tom Holland, what I liked about Tom Holland is that he literally was a kid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Tobey was I think he was like 30 when he was playing or something like that. You know. So, but like. Yeah, we have Brick saying Garfield, Holland, and Tobey in that order. Man, I didn't see that coming. Rare you see Tobey put last. Then the Tobey movies are better overall. Really, we are like the opposite here now. But as a Spider-Man, he's the worst. Weird, because I would thought people would think maybe he's the better Spider-Man, but Holland are the better movies. But there's absolutely no right answers here, really.
Interesting perspective to think, like, what if the Sam Raimi movies came out today? I don't think that they would have the same love that people have for them right now because they came out so long ago. But
they're too busy making Madam Webs.
Mid Web.
I've heard it's less than mid. I've heard it's mid-em. I've heard it's less than mid. I've heard. But all right, so let's ask this man a few more questions. All right. So we're gonna. You have you ever watched the Hope Show by any chance?
Yeah, I watched last week's with Brick. No, that was Visions, the Hope Show. It's been a minute.
Right, I've been tuned out. Hope Show's the Monday night one.
Yeah.
We do this thing called the Snap, where you have to choose what you're going to snap away. Thanos snap things away for eternity. So like the first one here is the character of Deadpool or the character of Din Djarin. So if you snap away Deadpool, he never existed in the comics, in the movies, in Wolverine Origins, which is clearly the best version of him. And Din Djarin, Mandalorians, they still exist. Both you know, Boba Fett's safe, but Din Djarin and his story gone.
Damn, Jane, this is brutal. Like really just throwing me into the cage right off the bat, bro. This Absolutely. Is so tough because Deadpool's so essential to Marvel right now, right? Like they joke in the trailer he's Marvel Jesus, but they need him now more than ever, and Star Wars needs Din Djarin now more than ever. So it's like the two messiahs of Disney's properties right now. I'm going to have to say eliminate Deadpool just because Mandalorian for me and so many, I would like to say so many younger minds this day and age, like this is their generation of their new hope, right? Like for younger or older generations and older collectors, Luke Skywalker was their Din Djarin, right? And for younger people that are watching Mandalorian, this is their Arnold of their generation. This is their action hero. So
good logic, yeah.
Yeah, and Deadpool, I love Deadpool, but man, Mandalorian, I'm excited for this movie. I was rewatching the first episode of the pilot the other day of Mandalorian, and that scene where he walks into the cantina is easily my favorite Star Wars scene of all time.
I agree with you.
Simple, so subtle, so perfect.
The first two seasons of Mandalorian, I rewatch a lot because they're just, the standard is so good, and even like episodes 5 and 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, which is Mandalorian season 2.5. But I haven't gone back to rewatch season 3, and I probably won't. But I'm just saying that because earlier on I mentioned that I'm not really a fan of the. I've watched all the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows, the MCU ones, but I've yet to go back and rewatch any of them. It's usually a bad sign for me, and a good sign that I can save a lot of money not buying things, like, you know. So, but yeah. So that's that. Thanks for playing the game. We got one more as well.
Ooh.
So this is Deadpool 1 or Iron Man 1. One has to go.
This is even harder, bro. I love both of these movies with my whole heart. Honestly, I think Deadpool is a better movie, personally, just because I think the pacing, the comedy of it's actually really good. Iron Man is a near perfect movie too, but it has a pretty generic villain. But so does Deadpool. So, I'm gonna.
Tough call.
Yeah, right. Because both of these movies were so essential and so needed for the Marvel universe, right? Like they both changed so much. After Iron Man came out, so many movies were trying to replicate what Marvel was doing, right? And after Deadpool came out, we know the history with Suicide Squad and what studios were trying to do there. Gonna have to go with Iron Man on this one. I love Deadpool, but I'm gonna snap Deadpool away. Iron Man is what started it all for the MCU, and it still holds up. You know, it's a movie that's 2008. That's a pretty older movie now.
Yeah.
So
Still holds up.
Still holds up.
Yep, good stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, there's no right or wrong answers, but people in the chat might argue that there is. This one is horrible. First of all, we do not promote any form of violence against people or any living thing on this channel. So the question is, this is more like, who do you want chasing you? Because if you snap away John Wick's dog, it's not going to end well for you. And if you snap away Liam Neeson in Taken's daughter, he will find you. He has a particular set of skills that make people like you a nightmare, or people like him a nightmare for people like you, something like that. I don't know the full speech, but you get my point. So what's going to happen? You got to snap on him.
I think I'm a dead man either way, right?
You're dead. You're already dead. Just accept your fate. Yeah.
Damn if I do, damn if I don't. You know, I'm gonna take Liam Neeson's wife, just because
that's the daughter. That's the daughter.
Or the daughter. Yeah, the daughter. Just because, you know, I'm not a bad man, but, you know, I would like give her a drink or something, you know, talk with her like, I'm wait for your dad to, or your dad to show up and kill me.
No, I mean, if you snap her, she's dead.
Oh, yeah.
And then Liam Neeson in Taken, his character, I can't remember his name, is going to come after you and find you. And if you snap the dog, John Wick's coming after you.
Look, I love John Wick, and I'm not going to snap his puppy away, even if he wasn't going to kill me. That's such a cute. I love Daisy. Daisy's such a cute little, good little girl.
Yeah. Liam Neeson's coming after you though, and he will find you. Find you. Yeah, this one here was kind of questionable because I was like, I don't want people thinking that we're promoting violence. We absolutely aren't. The whole gag is like, who would you rather have chasing you, John Wick or Liam Neeson in Taken 1? I mean, the guy is pretty damn relentless in that movie, from what I understand. He asks one question, and if you don't give him the answer, he just shoots you. Like it's pretty insane.
Man's temper is short.
Yeah. So before we go on to like the present, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping here that I didn't do at the start. So obviously we, if you've been watching the Hope Show during the week, you know that we hit 3,000 subscribers. So big milestone for the channel. We're currently at 3,039 subs. As usual, would like to thank anyone that's taken the time, any time out of their day to watch any of the content at all, or like any of the videos, or subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment, or join a live stream, or join the chat. Massive shout out to the channel members. So there is, as usual, a link if you want to join channel membership, pinned to the description. So shout out to the troopers. We got JB. These first 6 were gifted by Eddie and Yomo, I believe. I think Eddie gifted the first 5, and then Yomo gifted 1, which actually went to Collector Joey. So shout out to JB. Toy Collector, Mark Attack, Casual Nerd Problems, Cylon, Collector Joey. We give Collector Joey another shout out. Of course, we got the man himself, Good Old Spotchka, in the chair today on episode 51 of Visions, if you're just joining us. Ancient Silver Fox, the man who needs constant subtitles. We have no idea what he's saying. Jose Plus, we got him in the chat here as well. Brian Wong, I've been communicating with Brian Wong for a number of months now. Hopefully we're we're going to get where we need to go with this display behind me. The Ben Thomas Show, Eddie Money Mendez, Caffeinated Comic Fan, Jim Collector, Lancelot's Nerd Corner, Mugwump, Mike L, Chuli, Ryan Smith, and of course now we got to shout out the commanders who have their YouTube names, handles displayed at the end of all the comments. So, new videos on the channel, every single figure I've ever sold and why. A review on the Clone Pilot, spoiler alert, I love it. And episode 4 of a series of live streams called Collection Direction, where I outline any changes, new figures I've bought, figures I've sold, changes to display, which there were many in this room and other rooms. I provide my updated pre-order list, which is worrying, and my wish list as well. So if you want to see a collector airing all their dirty laundry, maybe that's the stream for you. All right, so that brings up to the present. So when did you actually get the first Vader? Do you remember what year it was or how long ago it was?
I think it was like November of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be that, or at least December, January, at least in that 3-month time span.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, like, say, can you remember like your first 3? Usually I find it's easy to remember your first 1, 2, 3, and then it gets a bit muddled.
Yeah, it gets very muddled after the first 3 or 4. I think it was, I got the Force Awakens Kylo Ren, and then the third one was the Durasteel Mando.
Durasteel Mando.
Yeah.
So, I don't like the pose though, but
it's such a beauty of a figure.
It's okay. Yeah. I just like the thrown together rustic look. Like, it's kind of like Remnant Troopers. I know, remember when they came out, it was like a lot of people were saying it's just a stormtrooper with chips and wearing and battle damage. I was like, yeah, it's a stormtrooper. It has weathered the fuck. Yeah, loved it. It kind of told you a story.
Because it looks like, if you ever play Battlefront, it looks like when you're getting missiles and dirt thrown at your armor, it just looks like that in the game. So yeah,
it gets shattered. Good stuff. For me, it was like, instead of telling us, by the way, folks, it's post-Empire, and the Empire don't have the same funding, with like 1 or 2 troopers that were just looked like they've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
It told you that straight away, and I love that. Show, don't tell, exactly. Like, so, sorry, your first, what was the second and third? Can you remember?
It was Kylo Ren, and then the Durasteel Mando, and then after that, I think it was the First Order Stormtrooper, because at the time, the Mandalorian Stormtrooper was like squad leaders hadn't been released to just make regular ones. It's like, I can't have an Empire Trooper. I guess I'll get a First Order Trooper. Sold that thing immediately because I was like, I do not like the bodies on these.
I heard that's a very, like, what was so frustrating about it? Is it like just...
It was the rubber that they used, I think, was just so awful. Like, I was trying to remove the fat suit on one of them, and upon like putting it back together, sure, I was an early collector, but even putting it back together, then it was like flimsy. The one arm was longer than the other. It was odd. It's very odd figure.
Yeah.
I've seen those go for extremely cheap for good reason.
I gotcha. Yeah, the yeah, they're I've heard, I think it was Ben Thomas had one of them as well, and he kind of said similar as well. As not the best trooper design. Right, so currently now, right, do you have any what are you collecting now? Is it all 1/6 scale? Is it exclusively Hot Toys? Do you have any third parties? Do you have any quarter scales? Do you have any statues? Do you have any vehicles? Like, just kind of outline like where are you at now? If you have numbers as well. Again, I don't buy into that. You know, you have to have 300-400 figures to have an opinion. I think that's nonsense. Like, you know, it's just like, let's go fuck yourself. Like, right. Like, let's be honest, it's kind of what it is. Like, yeah, okay, Grant, go back.
We all know me. I'm a youngin. I don't have the room at the moment in the time in my life to collect more than, honestly, about 50 for the space that I have right now. So right now I currently have one vehicle. I'm currently thinking about, I'm debating between the Tumbler, but I'm definitely picking up the 89 2.0 Batmobile whenever that drops. I've got 1/4 scale figure, which is the Batman Begins.
Nice, yeah,
right
nice.
now, love that. Might add a Jackson cape on that when the time comes.
Jackson capes, they're good.
Yeah, dude.
I've one on the DX19, and the DX19, in fairness, the stock cape is better than, say, the DX12 or DX02, but the Jackson Jew cape, it was gifted to me, and I'm really glad I got it. It just drapes really, really well. Yeah, he doesn't mess around.
Dude,
what was the one vehicle
Batman
you have?
cape, it's the Bat Cycle from the Batman.
Gotcha, yeah. So the new one, yeah?
Yeah.
So you went all out with you got the full set with the modular base, the Signal, the Bat Cycle, the Riddler as well. And to be honest, like, how much better can Hot Toys make that Riddler? Really, it's a guy in a green coat and a mask. Like, it's is it Yan Toys?
Yan Toys, and I like that they kind of go for relatively cheap, because if you wanted to, you could just get about 6 of those guys, like your clone troopers, if you will, and recreate the ending of the movie where they're all with their assault rifles. So of course,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the setup behind you. The thing is, like, the setup behind you, like, there's some really good. Maybe it's just because I have similar tastes, like, but you know, like, I'm loving like the Batman, the Bat Signal, even the kind of walking pose you have on, and just hearing that. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's hard not to look at that figure and not think about that. You know, you got the DX19, the In-Art Joker, and even like top shelf. Then, like, it's movie icons in a way, like, because you have like Michael Myers and that Peacemaker. Okay, it's not a movie. Well, he was in a movie, but there's some very unique pieces. What's the piece you have in the middle? Is it a Batman top middle?
Yeah. I was about to say, I've got 2 Batmans right here. I've got the Justice League Ben Affleck Batman right here. I'm going to pick up the 2.0 BVS one, but this is just holding it in for the time because I got like Batman figures. The Sonar Batman, and then I've got some third-party Suicide Squad figures up there. I'm hoping to add a Harley Quinn if they ever decide to give us that Artisan Hot Toys. What are you doing? Speed it up. And then, let's see, I think that's all the third parties. Yeah. And then I've got the boys figures up there, which I am going to add Black Noir at some point, the new Butcher that's coming out. I wish the boys got more representation. Appreciate you, Austin. I wish the boys got more representation in 160.
For such a good show.
Right. It deserves more figures.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's, I don't know, man. It does really remind me of the Watchmen. Like, I loved the Watchmen graphic novel, and then comic, whatever you want to call it, and then I watched the movie, and I did quite like the movie as well. I do prefer the graphic novel. I think it translates better, or maybe it's just because it's the original format that I, consumed the story in. But
I heard that a lot too.
The Boys very much reminds me of the Watchmen. It's like they're like, that's it. The Boys reminds me of the Watchmen, because you think about it, like, a lot of their superhero costumes, they're real goofy looking. It's kind of like on purpose, like, and that was kind of similar to some parts of the Watchmen. Then again, like, Rorschach's costume was awesome, comedian's costume was awesome, but you know what I mean, it's kind of like very much superhero cliches and stuff.
Looks dope, like, man, drunk and all, he still looks really cool. So.
Yeah.
I love
actually that scene where I think it's Billy Cudrup, I just like that actor, and he when he becomes him, special effects just absolutely nailed it.
It was like, what was it, 2 years after 300? Zack Snyder was a different man back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, man. Because I do like Zack Snyder. Like, you're speaking my language. Watchmen, 300.
Dawn of the Dead.
Even Dawn of the Dead, yeah. Or, what was it? Did Zack Snyder direct Man of Steel? Did he direct Man of Steel?
Yeah.
Oh, no, did he? Yeah, he did, yeah. I like Man of Steel. And the aspects of BVS, but yeah. He went through the ringer though as well. I think his daughter died tragically, and
studio messed with him, and
yeah. Studios, man, studios. Who else we got in the chat here? We got Lancelot's Nerd Corner making an appearance. Thank you very much. Also a channel member. Thank you. And he wrote a really heartfelt, nice message on his story when I hit 3K, and it was greatly appreciated. So did the girlfriend. She's like, "Oh, that's so nice." And I was like, "It is really nice." Like, those little things, they do matter. Look at who it is, Mr. 7K birthday boy, 29. Enjoy the last year of your 20s. It'll go quickly. Shane doesn't know who directed Man of Steel. I literally said Zack Snyder directed it, didn't he? I don't think that qualifies as not knowing. That qualifies as maybe a bit of doubt. Fucking fact checker, get this guy out of here.
It just shows that
Shane
Warner
showing-
Brothers was pushing it in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I didn't look like this morning. It's from carrying that tumbler up the stairs, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Watching 300 at 13. I bet it did. I bet it did. All right. So, we're in the present now. You've established, like, you know, your first few figures and how you get into and stuff like that. Like, but right now, who's your go-to retailer? Like, are you do you trail the trawl through the buy sell trade groups? Do you is it just a sideshow guy? Do you mess around with the Hong Kong retailers, or you're just kind of like whoever's the best price? What's your process currently?
If it's a figure like the Batman, right, or Catwoman, because I was so damn curious about it. I think I did Peacemaker Toys by an Agent as well. If it's a character or a figure that I am over the moon for, and I'm texting the Copper Drop crew immediately when it drops, like, holy crap, it's out, like, just exclamation marks all around all night, I'll go ahead and pick it up. But if it's like Black Noir from The Boys, or this 3PO that just came out, I'll wait for Replay Toys or Steve Does Underground Figures or buy sell trade groups to get it in, just because some of these Hong Kong resellers will be charging you like an extra $100 just for you to get the figure then and there. And sometimes it's worth it for me because, you know,
for the day one, definitely.
Yeah, and some of these figures,
definitely.
In my head, they represent a day one purchase, and just for that memory alone of, yeah, that was a day one for me. Like Keaton 2.0, Bane 2.0, probably Kenobi Vader. Those are day ones for me.
Morbius.
Usually Morbius. Usually do GBA, but sometimes I'll do Replay, even though you know, Replay and I are hit or miss relationship.
I've heard I've used Toys Buying Agent before. I think I've used them twice, but yeah, I had good experience with them, and I've heard nothing.
Dude, he got my Catwoman here
Good
quick.
things.
I ordered it. I was on Movie Cannon stream. It was 2 or 3 Sunday nights ago, and I got it in 2 days later. I was like,
What figure was that?
The Catwoman.
Oh, right, yeah. So you just kind of waited. Was that a pre-order, or did you just wait and then he had it and then just ordered it?
I just ordered it on the stream because we were talking about it. I was like, I think I'll order it during the stream, and I ordered it
live order. Yeah,
live order. 2 days later, it was here. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that buzz, man. That pre-order buzz or the purchase buzz. I get that. It's a slippery slope.
Oh yeah.
How do you like? I'm gonna turn this one into a question. Right? I think it is important that as a collector, especially if you've been in the game for a few years and you've made a few missteps and you've found a focus upon very much intended for your collecting, to have like certain kind of criteria, or you could say rules. I don't know. That takes the fun out of it. But my own personal thing is like, typically figures have to be a triple threat. I have to love the character, love the source material, love that version. So Iron Man, easy one. Iron Man 1, like the Mark III. I'm always back to front. I think after years doing this, that one there. So the Mark III, Iron Man, love the character. Iron Man 1, love the source material. And that's the Mark III. Like, that is as iconic as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
But a second thing I've started asking myself is, Shane, will you like this in 10 years' time? And I think that's nearly more revealing than anything else. And although, like, I don't always stick to these triple threats, like, all the time, 95% of the time, usually do that. And if I'm doing that 95% of the time, then the little bits where I'm like, I'm going to bend the rules here or break the rule here, it keeps me under control. It stops me, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to get that. That looks cool, I'm going to get that. That looks cool, I'm going to get that. And then you can't pay your mortgage. So, like, what's your process for deciding what comes home and then what goes into the wish list and what's like, no, I'm putting that aside? What's your process?
Man, I'm going to be real with you. A majority of almost every single figure that comes out is in my wish list, you know? When it comes...
this is that makes the question so much better. How come you just don't get them all? Like, I mean, besides money, and we can't obviously afford everything, but
yeah, because I am younger, and when it comes to getting a figure, I do buy a lot less than some other people, and that doesn't make me any less of a collector. Everybody buys at different paces. For me, it's like very similar to you, where it's, do I love the property? Do I love the character? sometimes I have exceptions where I just really like the costume design. As an artist, I'm like, that strikes my eye. Like, you know, even as a little kid, right? The whole reason we like the properties that we like, some of us liked it because when we're young, you can't comprehend or understand plot points, right? So you're liking it. You liked Batman Forever because it was colorful and it looked cool and it made you feel a certain way.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Bringing that childhood kind of like reference out into my collecting. That's the Wonder Woman 1984 one right here. I picked that up with the Copper Drop crew while we were all in Texas together. So that has like a sentimental attachment to it. The Suicide Squad, that movie, I watched at a different turning point in my life where a lot of things changed for me. And that was like one of the last movies that I watched and things were changing around me. So for me, like when I watch something and life changes around it, I take that movie or that show that I'm watching at the time and kind of let it marinate and kind of think and stew on for a while. And if it resonates with me, it's something that I'll pick up. I connect deeply and emotionally with the properties that I collect just because, not to get all weird or sentimental here, but like growing up, I didn't have like a bunch of friends, right? So I would watch a bunch of movies. I'd watch a bunch of shows and be a nerd and read a bunch of.
No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, and
appreciate you sharing as well.
Right. So if it like the Present Toys Blade that just came out, that's one that I'm debating, right? But I'm waiting on the Sosa one. But I'm definitely gonna pick up a Blade because that connects and resonates so much with me in my childhood. 89 Keaton 2.0. I loved what they were able to do in 1989. Even though I wasn't born, I wasn't around. I can still appreciate the idea as like a young kid in 1989 dressing up as Batman to go see that movie and what that meant to somebody in 1989. So as an artist, it's just the story of humans, what we're able to create, and the stories we're able to show each other, that ones that stick and give us hope and change our ideas and give us a plan of what we want in life. So I like that. I like thinking on that kind of thing. It's a long-winded answer, but
no, man, it's a good answer because it's bloody real, man. And I like what you said about like sometimes like you go see a good movie and it could be around the time of change in your life or something that happened, and you'll maybe some shit's going down and you see this movie and it kind of just give you that bit of escapism, and you're like you always give that kind of that nod to that movie, going, yeah, you were there for me. I get that, and you know, that's art. Like I remember, I feel about that about Almost Famous. You ever see that movie?
Oh yeah, that's been a long.
Man, like there was I'll be honest, man. I was about 12, I think. I don't know whenever it came out. I was young. I think it was the early second, somewhere between 12 and 15. I think the gist of it was, this is really embarrassing. I think I was going on a date when I was really, really young, stood up and I said, fuck it, I'm going to see the movie anyway. Went to the movie, loved it, still love it to this day, and it's like, fuck it, I'm not going to let anyone ruin my day, like, you know what I mean? So just plow on, like, you know? But that's a Billy Cudrup reference as well. He was the same guy in Dr. Manhattan, he played the guitarist in that, like, but a great movie. You haven't seen it, check it out. But I'm going to address some of these chats, if you don't mind, before we continue on. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. So who else we got? Austin Nicholas saying hello to Lancelot's Nerd Corner. Enjoy the different quests you have on the show from different collectors. Yeah, 100%. I bet Shane. Shh. First rule, dude. First rule.
Come on, Rick. What the hell?
Man, come on. Let me give it away. Like, you know what I mean? So. I like that. Well, if I wasn't going to call him, if I didn't call him on it, fact checker was definitely going to call him on it. Shh, Brick, man, come on. Right, and Tyler hears about this. So Lancelot just rewatched 300. Good stuff. Also, sorry, Austin, I missed your comment anyway. I had it up, but I forgot. Tell Rach I said I was a hi and I was asking for her. I hope she's well. And if you haven't watched Almost Famous, there's a lovely movie you could watch together. So good. And I agree with Jose. 100%, just a great movie, just a good story, you know what I mean? Great music as well. So like your toys buying age would be like for your day one, and then you've bought from like Replay Toys before. Would you ever do you mess around with Sideshow, or would you find stateside stuff that's cheaper? Or
I've never bought from a Sideshow just because of all of my friends around me are like, man, I still haven't gotten this or that, and I'm like, really? Like you still haven't gotten that in? And then I'll watch.
Yeah, I get you.
All their figures from Sideshow, and sometimes it takes them. They'll get a new release in sometimes a month after it gets announced or dropped, or sometimes 6 months after it's been dropped. So it's a catch-22 with them. So with Sideshow, I typically don't gravitate towards them just to avoid, not being able to get it. I'm one of those, I don't want to say instant gratification collectors, but like if I made the purchase and if it's dropped, I want to get it within a reasonable time. So yeah.
Good stuff. And we have X-Men Cylon. So Cylon, I believe you were gifted a channel member by Eddie Money Mendez, I believe. So thanks for joining us, and thank you for being a channel member as well. So I'm wondering then, like, I'm just going back to this idea of the wish list. So like a lot of the stuff from an artist's point of view, you probably have a bit more kind of like that for that figure to look that good. There has to be so much that goes into it, whether it's the sculptor or the paint apps or the tailoring or the accessories or the articulation. So you're looking at it from like an artist's point of view, and man, that's so difficult. Just that one piece of the figure is so difficult.
Oh yeah.
So it leaves a lot of them on the wish list. Is it the nostalgia kick then that converts them from the wish list to the to actually buying it? Or you mentioned before as well, you can buy something just for the aesthetics. Does that only apply to older figures, or would you like look at something new going, wasn't gone the movie, but that suit is unreal, and you'd still buy it? Would you mess with that?
Perfect example. Last weekend, I had just watched the 66 Batman movie for the first time, and I won't give away too much on the channel, but Spotchka was on a little bit of Spotchka, and I watched it with the mindset. I'd turned my phone off, I put it away, I tried to go in with the mindset of there is no other Batman that has existed up until this point. There is no Keaton, there is no Christian Bale trilogy. Just go into it with this open mind. And
it's a dark world you describe, man.
Right. It's pretty crazy to think for a second.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much to the point where I was like, you know what, those suits back in the day, man, it still kind of slaps. It has that like 60s aesthetic to it. So those are ones I would go back and pick up sorely based on
the Hot Toys or the third-party versions.
Third party's okay with me. Like if I found the Hot Toys, like there's someone here locally who's selling Robin and Batman for $500 together, the Hot Toys one, and I thought that's
really good, man.
But
that's really good.
I'm also seeing The Boys in 3 weeks, so I'm like,
yeah,
I can wait for the third party.
Yeah, we all gotta eat, man. We all gotta eat sometime. So, all right, so let's see if we can throw another question out. Okay, so do you have pre-orders currently?
I currently have one because I'm not usually a pre-order person.
I'm gonna have to ask you two questions. So, what's that one pre-order? This is not the question. This is the pre-question.
The pre-question. That one pre-order I did while I was with the Copper Drop crew. It's the InArt Superman.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nice.
I'm debating picking up that 4-pack. It's just
yeah,
a young lad. I don't know.
You see, that probably, I would argue that 4-pack for me is nearly an exception to my triple threat rules, because it's hard for me to say, okay, did I love the character Joker? Yes. Did I love the source material? It's hard for me to say that I love that movie, but I do recognize that's a 5-star movie. When I watched it, I appreciate that art. I can see why it gets awards and stuff like that, and it's hard for me to say I love that version of Joker because it's so goddamn close to home. It's a guy having a mental breakdown.
Brutal and real.
It's very hard to describe that, Now again, Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't exactly
badass or anything. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So it's but I am gonna pick up that 4-pack. But I kind of like what you're saying. It's the artistry of those pieces.
Yeah,
like the sculpts, the rooted hair. The bases, they've added that other bases, the tailoring, the accessories, I think they're ample. I mean, they have what you need and what he used. You've got the 4 different stages of the movie, really. And then like the little video they put together was outstanding.
I love how this is an action figure set that's about a movie about a man's life falling apart, right? This is Like, imagine what's that movie, Falling Down, or with Michael
Yeah,
Douglas?
yeah,
Can you imagine a 4-pack with that man, but he's in the
yeah.
same outfit the whole time. That's a similar plot where man's just his day is completely
If they had
lifeless.
just given him that breakfast,
Right, right.
everything would have been okay.
Customer's always
Maybe.
right.
Yeah, yeah. I need to watch that again. That's a good call, man. That's a good call.
It's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good movie. So you might be on that slippery slope. So
Yeah, I say that, but I'll probably end up going with the 2-pack just because that's a little bit more.
oh yeah, yeah.
I say a little bit more, but it's still a steep price.
It's they've priced it strategically because let's say if you're going with kit, I think kit was all in. I want to say 17. Jose, you're up just under 18. I think it was 1786, and you can get like a $10 coupon. Everyone has them, so like what? Let's say 1775 or something. But then I think the 2-pack is probably closer to around what?
After you put
1300?
the deposit down, it was only going to take out close to $1,100. So that sounds a lot more comfortable to me. Because after
Right, yeah, I see that. Yeah,
down to
yeah,
the 4-pack, it's going to take out like close to 1,600 once it's time.
yeah.
That's a lot.
My point, what I was going to use then, is kind of invalid then. So because I was going to say that I thought there was I thought the gap was a little closer. With that gap, then if you would it be all in after the deposit? What would it be for the 2-pack? Do you know? Can you
The
remember?
2-pack, it's like $1,090 something, I believe. Yeah.
Right. That's shipped for the 2-pack after
That's
the deposit, everything together.
Yeah, that's shit.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then 1750. You're talking another 650 for 2 figures. Yeah, actually, no. That my point was invalid. Then I thought they were closer in price. I thought there was only like a $400 gap or something like
It's
that.
about a $500 gap. I mean, I've thought about it. I've debated. I'm like, dude, that's $500 for 2 more figures, and what you're already paying for it. You might as well go ahead and go for that 4-pack, because at $500, you're going to be putting that in other figures anyway, right? So
Yeah, I got you.
still debating it.
Yeah. I'm pulling the trigger on that. I've already contacted Line Rock, and I just have to pay my deposit before February. But no, they're pretty good as well. Like so, yeah. Again, like I don't care who buys from where. None of my business, not my problem. That's the way I say it. But I review for them, and they give me better prices in exchange for the review. So it's like, that's what can you do? That's as
Right.
open and honest as I can be. If you don't like it, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. Like,
These things are expensive.
but,
Man. Get your discounts.
yeah,
where you can.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Shane, I feels weird to say I love the Joker movie, but you're a psychopath, Lancelot. I'm only joking, Lancelot. You know I love you, big fan of Lancelot. Trevor giving you a direct order there, and he is a veteran. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in this game a long time.
Man, I want to.
Do not pass up on that 66 deal. Yeah,
But the boys are coming.
yeah, I tell you, it's a constant way up, isn't it?
Gotta balance it.
Trevor saying, I have a falling down figure. I can't remember if you've shown me that one. I presume it's a custom. Trevor gets a lot of customs. Got some amazing customs, actually. I think he's got some Indiana Jones, Deckard, nice Braveheart one as well, I believe. 2-pack is 12. Thank Jose, is just like a fountain of knowledge. 2-pack is $12.92 with kit, so just under 13. And the 4-pack is probably about $500 more expensive. So there is I suppose a significant gap there. $500 is $500, man. Half a G, like, you know. So, all right. So we're going to move on to. It can be the most exciting section, or it can be the most daunting section, depending on how you look at it. So, First of all, what is? Do you still see yourself collecting in 5 years' time? What I mean by that is, in some capacity, you mightn't have the same amount of figures, you mightn't be involved in YouTube, but do you still see yourself on some capacity being a collector in 5 years' time?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I see myself collecting up until I'm an old man. You know,
Mhm.
I am
Okay.
excited to see where this game goes in the long run. You know, J&D has been recent under controversy with the community, right, with their pricing, but I think they're onto something there with their silicone bodies, right, with their Joker being able to move his head like that, and it looks realistic. There's no scenes. I'm excited to see what collecting looks like in the next 10 to 15 years, right?
Yeah.
All of us in the community, right, to check back 10 years from now and be like, dude, you remember when we were still having plastic bodies on our figures? Because that's going to change. So I'm excited to just continue to collect. Doing YouTube, I think I'll still be doing YouTube. I think it would be kind of bittersweet to be doing YouTube 10 years from now, given that I'm so young, to go back and look at everything that's happened since that point. Hopefully trying to do something with my art as a career. So I plan on having a display case at a tattoo shop in the future.
Right, cool.
That's the dream, is having your own shop and having your own setup, like with Maju spaces there for customers and myself to just enjoy. Right now, in terms of 2024, 2025 collecting, I'm going to add another garage shelf. I'm going to add some Batmobiles, and I want to add the Rogues Gallery from 66 and Batman and Robin and some of the Kenobi figures. Do more on the boys line. Pretty much just an extension of what's already here, filling it out more like the Dark Knight trilogy collection. But yeah, man, I'm very excited to see the future.
Good stuff. And you mentioned a tattoo shop. Like, I know that you're an artist and you're involved in art. Like, do you tattoo people or
not yet? No, I've had a really a strange journey with that.
Right. Okay.
But
yeah, because that's I mean, like, there's one thing, I suppose, drawing a picture or painting or a comic book or getting a commission and putting art on someone's body. That's a big responsibility. Like, I remember, oh god, this is going back, I want to say 2012, when I was getting, like, say it was my first kind of, suppose, a forearm half sleeve, whatever you want to call it, and the guy, before he took out the ink, I'm not sure what the correct name for the needle is. Is there special? It's just needle, or is
just
there...
a needle? Yeah.
Yeah. So before he even took out that, he just had his pen, like, it was a red pen. I'll never forget it. And he was just, like, sketching. Because I'd shown him, like, I went to that, like, obviously New Zealand have massive tattoo culture, Maori designs. The guy who was actually doing it, he was Tongan. And, like, a lot of the designs I was picking out were Polynesian, because the symbols are actually tighter together, and I preferred that. And I showed him, like, I like this, but not this, but maybe something like this, and I like these patterns. He was explaining all the different meanings behind the pattern and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. Really, just, guy was just a dude, like. But he was he just freehand sketching, no tracing, none of the stuff, freehand. And every now and then he rubbed something off, and then that went on for like 2-3 hours, and then said, right, go and check it from this angle, changing piece, and eventually takes the needle out and he does it. But, like, the lines he were drawn, I swear to God, like, so there is some straight lines in it. I couldn't draw a straighter line with a ruler. I just don't, like.
It's hard to get down, man. I'm still practicing lines.
Amazing, yeah.
And it's so incredible and impressive how they're able to do that. What he was doing with that red marker was reforming and also creating it to your arm specifically. So, like, let's say if somebody took a photo of your tattoo, and, like, you know how, like, some people do really shitty Pinterest, like, recreations of a tattoo they see online or whatever, it wouldn't fit onto their body. So if he took a red marker and started etch-a-sketching into your own, like, for me, I had this Michael Myers tattoo, right? And the smoke is connected to, I don't know if I can get my vein to twist on here, but you can kind of see it there, where it connects to the smoke lines with my veins. So if you took this tattoo and put it on another guy's arm, it wouldn't line up.
I got you. So it's unique to you, like, it's like a fingerprint, like, yeah, no, that makes sense. So they're taking the body shape of the individual, which is more than likely one of a kind, like, into consideration. I find that really interesting, man. There's a lot of very skillful. Yeah, incredible. But yeah, that's not even sure how I get on to. Oh yeah, you're asking about the you mentioned a tattoo shop. So it's something in the future you see yourself potentially doing for a living then?
Oh yeah, 100%. That would be the ideal dream, if you will. My visions.
Nice, good use of words. Love it. Yeah,
is to eventually have my own shop, and then if I was still doing stream from the shop, and then in the background you just see a Maju space, but with, like, the tattoo equipment and the seat.
That's very cool. Yeah, but the thing is, I find, like, if someone is aimless, like that's scary. Like, as in scary for the individual, because they don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life. And like a lot of people, like, say, a lot older than you, a lot older than me, still haven't got that, like, this is how I want to spend my time. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, like, like you're very young. Time's on your side. You have the talent, from what I understand, what I've seen. I think I've seen some of your stuff on Instagram, or I think maybe Joey showed some stuff before on a stream. I have a vague memory, but I must check it out. Like, but the having that, I have a vision, I have a dream or a goal to work towards. Like, that's kind of half the battle. I know it's easier said than done, but like a lot of people, if you don't have that direction, I think that makes it a lot different. Because what you working towards if you don't have something, like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I know I'm young, but I think my advice to everybody, especially if you have a talent that you're not too sure if you want to do or not, like, my advice is to do 12 different things that see if they stick, you know, and see if you like them. See, like, I do more than just drawing, like, you know, collecting, or I can't sing, but I've tried singing, you know, try to buy record vinyls or something. Like, just go out of your comfort zone and see what you enjoy. And that would give you clear direction on, I think, what you would want to do. I think it's important for everybody not to necessarily have it figured out, but to have an end game in mind, right? Have a vision of what you would want out of everything to come to, right? We all know that life is limited, so make the most of it and enjoy your collection.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good, I like what you said about trying things, because it's like, how do you know what you're going to enjoy or love, like, if you haven't gone, okay, well, that's not for me and that's not for me. I love this, maybe this, there's potential there. Like, it's watching something on YouTube or watching something on TV or watching your friends and hearing about it, you got to get involved, like, you know what I mean? Put yourself out of your comfort zone, like I said. I like those points. Good stuff. All right, so the next question then, well, my next two questions are redundant, because usually I go, will you see yourself collecting in 10 years time and in some capacity for the rest of your life? So you're kind of a lifer in some capacity collecting, and it links into your kind of goal that you mentioned there. So my next question is, actually, I think you've answered this as well in a very unique way. Usually I ask people, okay, tell me about your existing setup. How would you change it if you had like your ideal collection room, display room, cinema room, whatever you want to call it, man cave? What would yours be? So would yours be the tattoo parlor with the module cases in there, or
that would just be work? Yeah, that would just
right. You would have two collection rooms. I like where you're going with this. Yeah.
Is that you got to think at that time, all the movies and the shows that are going to come out by the time I'm 35, 40 years old, and everything that now that we're enjoying and loving. So I'm thinking, you're gonna have to separate it, because there's gonna be so many figures, dude. So so
you're realistic, basically, that you're never going to be fully done. Like,
I know that in 10 years there's going to be a new IP that comes out that I'm like, dude, did y'all see that? I'm going to collect figures from that. That was amazing. Because that happens. Like, think like The Boys, right? That's a show that came out the year that I started collecting. Never heard of the show beforehand. Started collecting it this year. So there's going to be things, and like I said, 66 Batman's thing that recently just saw, want to start collecting that line. There's going to be things that I see and experience for the first time as a youngin', and be able to want to collect. My dream setup, though, that's not at the shop, I guess, would be an all-black room with I wanted to do artwork prints that were movie posters that I designed. Like, one right now that I'm designing is one for Batman Begins, where Scarecrow is like this big giant, like, kaiju essentially version of himself, trying to reach out for Bruce, falling from the whale with all the bats in it. Trying to make like trippy theme posters, and then have a bunch of Maju space set up in there. Eventually have every Batmobile, have the original 6 Avengers eating shawarma or something.
There are candidates for 2.0, surely.
Yeah, and then have a massive Star Wars setup where you have some 3D printed like TIE fighters and 1/6 scale hanging like bats or something, and have some stormtroopers walking along. You know, have fun and creative with it. Have an entire room dedicated to that, essentially.
Yeah, man, it makes a lot of sense. Sounds good as well. I just want to click on this here. That's so dope, Danny. I need you to tattoo the final verse of Lateralis on my back, please.
Let's do it, Lance.
What about are you a fan of the band Tool by any chance?
I wouldn't say like I go out of my way to listen to Tool, but they're included in that, like, I love me some Alice in Chains, some that like grungy 90s kind of vibe and that sound. Like when I'm on my workouts or just taking a run, I'll 9 times out of 10 be listening to 90s grunge. So
good stuff. Yeah, I think that's like where kind of I suppose my love of music would have come out of. I suppose rock and 90s grunge and stuff like that, and then got into all sorts of stuff, stoner rock, and well, sometimes that's called riff rock or fuzz rock. It sounds.
I don't know about you,
It's a funny
Shane.
one.
I like to listen to some of these 90s rock songs, but have a little bit of a remix to them, like a little bit of a modern like electric guitar riff into it that just kind of amplifies it up a little bit. I don't know. Just
Yeah, no, I like I kind of, it's funny, like I'm not sure do people. I'm a big albums guy. Like I'll be a big fan of a band, and I will actually like I'll get all their albums and stuff like that. But I'll actually listen to the album in its entirety. Like I'm not sure. Do people still do that? Like I don't know. Like say, is it more singles now or whatever? But maybe I'm showing my age now. I was always like, and even like if a band had like 5 albums, but one of them was like okay, clearly not as good, I'll still give that a listen, just not as much. But then again, if I'm going say like. If I'm going on a snowboarding trip, it'll be like hand-picked bangers like on a mix, because not every track will be what you want on the slopes, you know what I mean? Like, so it'll be a playlist type of buzz then. But yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely
commission there.
Singles genre now. It's like people don't make albums anymore. Like there's still some artists out there that had something to say with an entire album, but most of the time now it's just like one-hit wonders. I feel like.
Yeah, I still love like a band who's like constantly churning out albums, even like if it's every few years, whatever. Like Tool will release an album and then go dormant for like 10 years and then reappear. But
I love Gorillaz. I love me some Gorillaz too. Like,
Gorillaz, yeah. Some of their tracks are right. I did quite like some of their tracks. This is my favorite question to ask people. I'll finish all the episodes of Visions with this. How this started off was during the pandemic. I was big into 6 Scale Scavengers, still am. Shout out to all the boys in 6 Scale Scavengers, to Brian and Chris and TC. And sometimes I'd stay up late and I'd watch the Scavengers and have a beer and stuff like that. And the first comment I ever had read out by any content creator was the Scavengers. I said, so TC, Chris and Brian, hypothetically your house is on fire, all your family and pets are safely outside, and you've got time to safely grab 3 1/6 scale figures. And the boys just started bursting out laughing. They were kind of going, that is a morbid question, but they jumped on it. They really liked it, and they discussed it, and they answered the question. I appreciated that, especially during the pandemic. It's like there's very little social life. We were all locked in, like, so that's why I finished these streams. So what are your 3 fire figures?
I love that question, by the way, because it's definitely a thought that crosses our mind. Like, sure, we would grab the essentials, and sure, we would grab what we needed, but of course, we're gonna grab some figures. Like, this is our hobby. Like, of course. Man, definitely the Batman, 2022, Peacemaker, and my Homelander. No, I'm gonna switch out Homelander for NR Joker. I'm sorry, Homelander. Yeah.
That could be even like a financial thing as well, because those things were not cheap. But
I can get that Homelander back for a good price.
3 DCs too as well.
Yeah.
So you got Batman, Joker, and Peacemaker. Happy days. Daniel, thanks very much for agreeing to come on the show. Greatly appreciated. Really enjoy the conversation and the honesty. Is there anything else you want to plug before? I know you be usually on a Copper Drop on Thursday nights, I believe, Collector Joey. But is there anything else you want to plug, or what's coming up in your own channel? Or
yeah, thank you so much for having me on, brother. It was
no
so
problem, man. You're gent.
So much fun. Yeah, like you said, I got Copper Drop on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm starting a new stream on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time called Spots on the Rocks, which is just going to be me drawing live and talking with you guys, talking about new figures, new movies, new shows that are coming out. I might do the first big show that we're talking about, maybe breaking down some of the episodes while I'm drawing, is the new Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. So that might be coming up on the channel. And then I'm going to be on
Do I have your details right? Sorry, dude. Do I have your details right there down the bottom?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And then I got the movie Canon stream tomorrow night. Very excited to defend my title against Yomo. Figures Championship. But yeah, man,
Is
that's
it
all.
is it like general knowledge on movies or movie knowledge or
So
what's the competition?
basically, like this game that Geo set up is he names off an IP from a Hot Toys line. Like he'll say Infinity War, and we'll be underneath a certain time frame and have to name off as many figures from that line as possible without stuttering. I think you have to be specific about it. You can't just say Hulk. You got to say Infinity War Hulk or Infinity War Mark 50 Iron Man or so on and so forth. And I beat Yomo at that. And he's thinking that he wants to smoke again. So, you know, these hands are rated Y for Yomo. So I'm excited with them. It's going to be fun.
Excellent stuff. Brilliant. All right, folks. Coming up here, what do I got? There's gonna be a few shorts. I want to unbox that tumbler, and I won't be doing a review until I get the cases in for it. So probably talking a few months. But I may unbox it and just take a quick look at it and make sure that everything's a-okay. Make sure it hasn't broken in transit or anything like that. I will give my thoughts on the blogger photos for C3PO at some stage. Probably do that tomorrow. And then we'll get the Hope show on Monday night. And I was thinking about just taking a few older figures and just started doing reviews of them because I haven't found I'm working on my review style and I need a bit of practice, to be honest. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, folks, massive thank you to everyone who has watched us live here, or if you're watching on the replay, obviously huge thanks to Danny. And yeah, as usual, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch the videos, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, join a live stream in the chat or the panel, ask a question. Of course, huge shout out to the channel members, both the troopers and the commander. So yeah, that's pretty much us done. So yeah, see you later, folks.
Appreciate you guys.
Good luck.